Information shared on the following program is for general information purposes only. It does not constitute legal, tax, investment, or other advice, nor is it intended to recommend any particular investments, products, or financial instruments. Always seek advice from your financial advisor, attorney, or accountant with regard to investment, legal, or tax questions.
Welcome to the only show in the country dedicated to helping savers worry less about money, the WorryFree Retirement, with your host, nationally recognized retirement specialist and six-time author and fiduciary, Tony Walker.
Well, welcome, folks, to the WorryFree Retirement. And yes, I am that little man in the sweater vest, retirement planning specialist and fiduciary, Tony Walker. And before we get into the theme of our show, it's not a matter of if, but when, part 4. That's right, part 4. Let me introduce two folks in the WorryFree studios who are making this thing happen each and every week. America's favorite financial sidekick, Mr. Aaron Orander. And, of course, Louisville, Kentucky's favorite laid-back graphics artist, Mr. Derek Hudson. Okay, let's get back to what we've been covering. Over the last 3 weeks, we covered the first 6, what we call wins in retirement. Remember, folks, this whole thing of retirement requires a lot of thinking, a lot of wins that you've never had to think about when you were working. The first 6 we've already covered: when to take Social Security, when to roll over your 401k, when to deal with your tax tumor, when to start taking less risk, when to start spending your money, and when to seek a retirement planning specialist. Today, our last 2 wins are going to be when to purchase an annuity and when to admit you're not going to live forever. So let's do this. Let's get right into it about purchasing an annuity. When should you consider doing this? Well, first of all, we got to define what an annuity is. An annuity is a form of insurance or an investment entitling the investor to a series of annual sums. Now, that's a pretty good definition. The problem is when you get out in the real world and start this onslaught of individuals, mainly licensed insurance agents, many of them not fiduciaries, who are constantly trying to sell you annuities. Folks, the financial world knows you've got money, and many people know you're going to be interested in the safety and security provided by annuities. But you've got to slow down and understand that annuities are contracts, and these can be very, very complicated. Also, you don't want to put all of your money in just an annuity. This is why we created something called the split IRA concept. It's a unique concept that we as retirement planning specialists and fiduciaries use, and we can help you make it a determination how much you wish to put in what we call the Charles Schwab bucket, which is investments, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, bank CDs, etc., so you can have access to your money. And then also what you might want to consider putting into the annuity bucket, or what we call annuities, because there could be several of these annuities you take out. In fact, let's kind of take a look at the different types of annuities. There's really 3 types of annuities that we work with. These are all what's called fixed annuities or fixed indexed annuities. We have short-term accumulation products. What this means that the annuity can be taken out without penalty in less than 5 years. Usually these terms are 3 to 5 years. That's called a short-term accumulation. You're not looking for mailbox money. You just want your money safe and secure. Most of these annuities, as we record this show on January 17th, 2023, paying around 4.5% to 5% guaranteed, so not bad. The next type is a long-term accumulation annuity. These are what we normally call fixed indexed annuities. They are tied to the market, they're linked to the market, but they have no risk. Now, in a minute, we're going to see something from an annuity peddler who does not even understand what an indexed annuity is in terms of what they're sharing with people of something called participation rate. You'll learn about that in a minute. And finally, we have what we're going to talk about right now, something called an income annuity, or as we like to call it,
mailbox money.
All right, so let's take a look at a typical statement. Now, I'm going to really slow this down because there are annuities out there, we sell these annuities, paying as much as 7% guaranteed. These are called income products, and I'm going to explain to you in a minute how an insurance company can guarantee 7% because there is a catch. Now, this is an actual client. We've removed the name, obviously, and back years ago, they put in $110,000 into this annuity. This was years ago. The company at that time paid a 10% bonus. Currently, we still have companies doing this. So the company added $11,000 to the contract, and this was even after they paid us a commission. So as long as they play by the rules, keep this product in force a long time, this is a long-term product, they had a bonus and the company paid us a commission. So there was no upfront out-of-pocket cost to secure this annuity for this particular saver. Now notice over time, this has roughly been about 10 years, it's actually, the index side has made about $66,000, not bad. They will never lose that money until they start taking withdrawals, of course, but it's all been protected. So it's very, very safe, and this is why savers like these fixed indexed annuities. Oh, incidentally, we've got a brand new offer. It's a bundle of 6 different booklets I've written on various subjects, and one of those, of course, is Annuities Made Easy, and the second one, which deals with this, is called Mailbox Money Made Easy. I would encourage you to log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com, order this bundle of booklets. We'll mail that to you. Absolutely no charge or obligation. Okay, let's see what's kind of happening here. So as this account has grown, I want you to go down, and Aaron's going to be putting this in full screen so you can see it. Notice down at the bottom it says income account value, which is now at $301,000, and underneath it says 8%. Now these were some of the older annuities that were even paying higher. I've got this same annuity. So what that means is, as long as this annuity is not being taken out, no money's being taken out, it will gain 8%. Now in this example, this gentleman decided to start his mailbox money, which you see that number up here, see where it says amount withdrawn, $19,247. He just started his mailbox money, and this is what he's going to receive for the rest of his life. And you'll notice, I know Aaron, you're going to have to jump around here, notice as you come down here, the current lifetime payment is the same number. That's what he started. Now every year, he's going to get $19,247. And then you might say, what does that mean, the account keeps growing at 8%? No. Once you start the income, the 8% stops. The contract value, notice it's been reduced from 178 to 158. The contract value is what would go to his family if he were to die during the time of drawing this money out. Now this was set up where his wife will get the same income if he were to die. It's called a joint income. However, let's say they're both killed in a common accident. The 301 is gone forever. Remember, that number was just a calculation number. It is not a real number to be used for death benefit or planning. The death benefit is actually, in this case, the contract value. So, as you can see, by the time the company deducts their fees, by the time you take out your withdrawals, pretty soon, probably in 12 to 15 years, the money is going to be out. There is no money in this contract. But therein lies the beauty of an income annuity. So let's fast forward. Let's imagine in 12 to 15 years, they've been taking out $19,000 a year. The bucket is drained, but as long as one of them are alive, the husband or wife, it doesn't matter, they're still going to receive $19,247 a year guaranteed for the rest of their life. So folks, I don't know what you've heard about annuities out there, but if you're looking for something that's safe and secure and provides mailbox money for life, why in the world would you consider getting something like this? But you need to be talking to somebody like us, a trained retirement planning specialist who is a fiduciary obligated by law to work in your best interest. So if you have interest in something like this, please log on right now to TonyWalkerFinancial.com, TonyWalkerFinancial.com. Just click on that Let's Get Started button, or feel free to give us a call at the number on your screen. Okay, we've got a great Tony in the Trenches coming up, and this is what I'm seeing time and time again from annuity peddlers who have no clue what they're talking about. Good stuff coming your way. You stay tuned. I'm Tony Walker. I'll be right back. Who can you trust? It's one of the most important decisions you'll have to make. Question is, are you ready? Well, we're here to help at Tony Walker Financial. You know, we care more about you than we do your money, and we have over 2,000 happy clients and an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau to prove it. Rolling over a 401k, confused about Social Security, maybe you're afraid of running out of money. Learn how to use and enjoy and protect your hard-earned money. Log on now to TonyWalkerFinancial.com and let's get started. Welcome back to the Worry-Free Retirement. We're going to start off with an interesting Tony in the Trenches. This came from Sal in Louisville. says the following. Tony, I recently met with an insurance agent who I don't think is a fiduciary. He gave me a one-pager of different annuities to choose from, which only created more confusion. How do I know which annuity is right for me? Well, actually, I've got this right in my hand here, this one-pager that the agent handed this person, and I quickly hearkened back to the days when I was asked to speak to a large group of agents who sell annuities, and the title of my talk was this: You're either unethical or ignorant. Which is it? So I'm going to assume that maybe this agent had good intentions and is just ignorant of how these products called fixed indexed annuities work. So what we did, we kind of took some of the information from this one pager, and this is how they laid everything out. First of all, they mentioned the word profit, and you can see this based on the S&P, NASDAQ. This tells me it's an indexed annuity, but this was the part that was hilarious. It says profit again, 60% of participation rate. Well, basically, that's not even the correct terminology. That's not even how these products work. I'm going to show you that in a minute. Risk of losing investment, none. Profit, high. Well, there's no guarantees of any high profit. You'll see this in a minute. In fact, the highest this particular company can make, we have this particular contract, we don't use it much, is only guaranteed at 0.25%. I wouldn't call that a high guaranteed profit. Let's go to the next section. By the way, this is a 15-year contract. It gets a sign-on bonus, which is a huge number, which if I looked at that on the surface, if I didn't know anything about annuities, that would be very tempting to get a $50,000 sign-on bonus for giving them, in this example, $247,000. They do disclose the fees, thank goodness on that. The problem with this contract is it's a 15-year contract. There is no mention anywhere on here of the huge surrender penalties involved, and here's the big catch. On this contract, we know this contract well. If you cash this contract in prior to the 11th year, that's a long time, folks, and say you want all your money, you lose the entire bonus plus their surrender charges. So am I saying not to use this product? Well, I might put some of my money here, but folks, this particular gentleman almost put all of his money in this contract before we could point out the surrender charges, the loss of potential bonus, and that he was not going to make what he thought he was going to make. So when we talk about these types of things in annuities, here's 4 rules of thumbs, 4 good questions to ask yourself or an advisor before ever investing in an annuity. First of all, what is the AM Best rating of the insurance company? Now, we only use companies that are A- excellent or higher. So be sure that they're rated well by a company called AM Best. If you're going to consider an annuity, make sure there's a written game plan attached to the annuity. Folks, a one-page illustration or chart is not a game plan. Number 3, you've got to ask the questions. If I do surrender this annuity, what are the penalties? A fiduciary is going to have to show that to you. Somebody who is not a fiduciary is probably going to hide those facts that there are penalties to get out prematurely. And finally, if I purchase this annuity from you, am I guaranteed that your firm is going to be there to service this annuity? By the way, this particular contract, this company, we had to call them the other day. Now, hopefully this isn't long term, but Mandy Houchins, who does all the service work, like I said, we represent, fortunately only have a few annuities with this company, was on the line, on hold with this company for an hour and 20 minutes, and add insult to injury, when the person finally get on, they accidentally get cut off. What a disaster. So remember, these products have to be serviced, so make sure the person selling the annuity is guaranteeing that they're going to be there to service these contracts long after the sale. Okay, we got to take a break in a second here, but what I want to do real quickly, let's go over to the whiteboard, because I've got to cover this thing called the participation rate. And again, as this insurance agent refers to it as, 60% of participation rate. That's not correct. So a participation rate, if it's 60%, folks, what that means is the company, and they're all different for different companies, and these can fluctuate, by the way. What they're saying is, in any given year, when the stock market goes up a certain percentage, you will get that participation rate. So let's imagine the stock market in this example, we'll just say from 2023 to 2024. Notice by the time your contract anniversary came up, it was losing money. So the worst you can do with a fixed indexed annuity is 0. But I hate to say this, 60% of 0 is still 0. It doesn't help you any. So there was no profit that year. We saw this in the past year in 2022. Most of our fixed indexed annuities made no money because the market went down. Didn't lose anything, but didn't make anything. But here's what a participation rate is. Let's say the market does well, and let's say at the end of the year, the stock market has gone up 10%. What the participation rate is, 60% is applied to that, meaning you would get 60% of the 10%, or your rate of return for the year would be 6%. And now, while you can't ever lose that 6%, that doesn't mean next year you're going to make a profit again. That may not happen. So here's the point, folks. Before you invest a large sum of money or your life savings in an annuity, first of all, make sure they're fiduciary. Try to get a written game plan and make sure that firm is going to service what they sell, which we will at Tony Walker Financial. So right now, why don't you log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. If we can be of help with any of your annuity needs, please let us know. Or, of course, you can simply call the number on your screen. Okay, it's our final, it's not a matter of if but when, number 8. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. With the uncertainty of the stock market, our nation's debt spiraling out of control, and inflation running rampant, now may be the best time to consider moving your 401k to safer territory. My name is Tony Walker, and for over 38 years I've made it my life's mission to help savers worry less about money, and I want to help you too. To speak with me at no cost or obligation, why don't you log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com or simply call the toll-free number on your screen.
Hello, my name is Shannon Ross, and I'm the Investment Services Coordinator for Tony Walker Financial, which means I take care of all the brokerage accounts for our firm. In an ongoing effort to develop and use innovative and efficient tools to better serve clients, a recent partnership with DocuSign was established. This gives clients a safe, convenient method to complete many documents needed for account establishment or maintenance electronically. Not only does it reduce the potential security risk of information being sent by postal mail, it also makes paperwork completion and processing much quicker for you. The process of completing documents online via DocuSign is simple and can be done right from your phone, tablet, or personal computer. You will receive an email directly from DocuSign, and you simply follow the prompts to complete your documents. For added security, you will receive a text message with a code you'll need to input to proceed. Once you have accessed the document needing your completion, the system directs you to any and all areas needing your initials, signature, and date. Of course, if you have any questions, feel free to contact us through our website, TonyWalkerFinancial.com, or call us at 877-499-9255. Thank you.
Let me ask you a very important question. What if you were told that today would be your last day on earth? What would be the first thing that would come to your mind? Think about it for a minute. The first thing that comes to your mind now. Well, I don't know about you, but the first thing I would be thinking about is, am I going to be leaving a mess behind when I die? In other words, I hope that the money that I've created will not be a headache for those that are going to receive it when I'm gone. You see, when we really think about today being our last day on earth, the urgency of making sure that all of our life's work is in order is the most important thing, at least financially, we can think about and must do. And of course, do something about. This realization that we're not going to live forever and that any one of us can draw our last breath at any time should be motivation enough to at least get some basic plans in place so that others will know what it is we have and how we'd like to leave our stuff when we're dead and gone. It also serves as a reminder to enjoy your money while you still can, with limits and responsibilities, of course, added to that. But let's take a look at this and this idea of live well, die broke. It's the whole reason I wrote this book, because I realized so many people were waiting too long to use and enjoy their money. It's a best-selling book. It's a philosophy that I think stems from meeting with over 15,000 people for being in this business for over 40 years, and I think it's something that only a trained retirement specialist with more than 3,000 clients, many of whom are retired, can attest to. So if that's you right now, if you're sitting there thinking, Tony, I'll have to admit, I know I'm going to die, but I just don't like to deal with the topic. It's too difficult. I don't know where to start. Well, folks, we're here to help. For over 38 years, I've made it my life's work to help savers be comfortable in retirement, but also make sure their affairs and plans are in order so, they're not leaving a mess behind when they're dead and gone. If that's you, if you're sitting there saying, Tony, I'm just not organized, I'm scattered, I've got accounts all over God's creation, I need somebody who can not only help me, but be there for my spouse and loved ones when I'm no longer here, we would love to help you. To learn more about our services or just to talk to me over the phone briefly about our services, why don't you do this right now? Just log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. Let's arrange one of those free 10-minute fiduciary phone calls with you and me. And then if it warrants, I'll be happy to meet with you in person at one of our offices. So log on, TonyWalkerFinancial.com, or give us a call at the number on your screen. Well, we've covered a lot of information, but we've got to cover one more important item in the Bible. You're going to be surprised to learn what that is. Right now, I got to get a cup of coffee. I'll be right back. Have you recently retired, been laid off, or offered a pension buyout? Has the company you work for moved, been acquired, or closed its doors forever? And finally, do you have a 401k with a previous employer you'd like to move to safer territory? Then take advantage of this opportunity to move your 401k or lump sum pension to Tony Walker Financial. Let's meet in person to discuss your retirement options. Log on now to TonyWalkerFinancial.com to schedule your free, no obligation appointment. Let us help you today. Welcome to our Employee Spotlight, and today's feature will be Miss Heather Hughes, our fiduciary in the Bowling Green office. First of all, Heather, thank you for making the drive with JJ up to our Louisville studios today from Bowling Green.
Glad to do it today.
So briefly, tell the audience a little bit about how you got started at Tony Walker Financial, how long you've been with us, and your role there from doing an income planning specialist role all the way down to the fiduciary.
Oh, sure. Well, joined the firm back in 2006. Hard to believe it's been that long. Started off just helping you kind of develop game plans on the earliest levels. Since then, we went from Excel spreadsheets and building out our own proprietary
accordion. Remember the big accordion spreadsheets?
Yeah. Long sheets of paper. And then developing that proprietary software that we've come to love so much, and it's so helpful for clients. Since then, as I learned the business, it really became a passion of mine, and ended up becoming a fiduciary just like you.
And you're that person at the office that's there full time, which is so helpful to us, because many times I'm with clients quite a bit. But tell people the, surprise they have when we respond so quickly to their questions and the ability to call up the game plan and react to their needs as they change in retirement.
Sure, that's one of the benefits, I think, of having me in the office full time. I know you're meeting with a lot of clients up here in Louisville. When you're in a meeting, you're of course not readily available. They can usually reach me with just a quick phone call. So if they have any questions, especially existing clients, I'm happy to answer those for them, pull up their game plan. If there are any changes we need to make, we're happy to do that. Or if they're even needing to make some decisions, I can help with that.
Well, Heather, obviously I appreciate your work so much at Tony Walker Financial. You've been a great asset, and we look forward to helping many more savers. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Tony.
Looking to roll over your 401k? Then log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com and learn just how easy it is to roll over and safeguard your 401k. Do it today. In the last segment, I asked a thought-provoking question as follows. If today you knew for certain would be your last day on earth, what would be the first thing that would come to your mind? Now, another tough question to put things in perspective that deals not with dying today, but living a long time into the future, and it's this. How much money in retirement is enough? Assuming we are honest with ourselves, there's an answer to this question. Assuming we have a roof over our heads and some food in the fridge, well, probably we could say we have enough. Yet we still want more, and we, of course, worry nonetheless about having more than we might need. The late great theologian Charles Spurgeon said of this dilemma of feeling like we never have enough as follows. He said, "Those who have money worry with it, and those who have none worry without it." Another astute man, someone who is still alive today, who lived through the Depression and works with famous investor Warren Buffett, 99-year-old Charlie Munger, had this to say about the human tendency of feeling like we never have enough. And surprisingly, it's not what you think. Check it out where Munger says, "The world is not driven by greed, but rather by envy." He goes on to say, "Never has a nation had it so good and had so much excess, yet is less content than ever before." Munger went on to make this important observation about having so much. He says, "The result of all this envy is that people are less happy than ever before." It's an important distinction, this idea of greed versus envy. Webster's defines greed as a selfish and excessive desire for more of something, such as money, than is needed, whereas envy is defined as a painful or resentful awareness of an advantage enjoyed by another, joined with a desire to possess the same advantage. In 1 Corinthians 3:1, the Apostle Paul shares his frustration with the new believers of the day who claim to be followers of Jesus Christ and living by God's Spirit, but instead, as Paul puts it, are still fleshy, as evidenced by their jealousy displayed in verse 3. Romans 1:29 reveals evidence of a deprived mind. One that is full of envy, with envy, of course, producing jealousy. And jealousy then creates, as we see in 1 Corinthians 1:11, quarrels among people. So, Tony, what's the solution to this envy and jealousy of others who appear to have something we don't? Well, in my humble opinion, I would suggest instead of constantly looking at what others have, we simply be content with what we have. And how are we to be more content with what we have? Well, the Apostle Paul helps us here in Philippians 4:11-13, where basically he says, regardless of whether we have a little or a lot, the key to a worry-free retirement is learning to be content with what you have. Well, how about you? You might be sitting there saying, "Tony, you know what? I'm not content at all with the plans I've got for retirement." And if that's you, we can help. My name is Tony Walker, and for more than 38 years, I've made it my life's work to help savers worry less about money, and we do this by starting off with a very simple task on your part. It's called the free 10-minute fiduciary phone call. And here's how to take advantage of talking with myself, the owner of the company, right now. All you got to do is log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com and just click on that Let's Get Started button. Once you click on that, your information will be confidentially shared with our offices, and we will arrange a free phone call between you and I. Now, after that phone call, if it merits, then I'll be happy to meet with you in person at either our Bowling Green, Louisville, or Lexington, Kentucky offices. And of course, then we'll provide you that free written game plan. So do it now. Log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com, or if you like, just call the number on your screen. Well, we hope you've enjoyed this series of events at the Worry-Free Retirement. That's right, folks. We'll be back next week with a brand new episode of the Worry-Free Retirement. But between now and then, you remember, if all else fails, you be worry-free. Make it a good one.